So, hey guys, Chauzu here. So treasure map is over, and as usual we got the silhouette and everything. Usually I don't make videos about that, I maybe make a YouTube post or something. But this time we actually got some new info, and it looks like we might actually get a leg that like this week I made a video wanting more units for support at least. So yeah, we might be getting a killer legend finally, and I'll let you know why that is the case. Anyway, let's just go to the silhouette first. First I want to give some context. Basically, next month is the month before Annie. There's really no rule for what they'll do then. We should get a big version update at least, but in terms of the batch we get at the end of the month, before this we had no idea what's going to happen. But now with the silhouette here, the conclusion the community has reached is basically that this is an Apu silhouette. So this basically means that the treasure map will be Apu, and obviously when we get new units like from the Supernova, the first generation, you immediately think like it's going to be a first generation theme of some sort. So I could have made a speculation with you about that, said, okay, we're getting Apu, so it's going to be first generation and killer. But this time we actually got some more hints regarding that, because they updated the trusty characters. Usually this has no surprises. It's basically legends released in the past 3 months, some random assortment of old free-to-play units, and that's basically it. Some old treasure map units and such as well, treasure map recruits. But this time they added a lot of random legends, and all of these random legends have one thing in common. You guessed it, they are part of the first generation. But it's not all of them, as you'll see, which makes this very interesting. But if you go down, you'll see here first as SugoFest exclusives. They've randomly added We3 Kid, Rogue, and X-Drake, and this is highly uncommon. Like randomly adding a Kisna legend in X-Drake and PvP legend in Rogue. I've never seen that happen, so yeah, that's definitely very fishy. And sure, it can happen very rarely that a legend like We3 Kid gets boosted, but since we have so many, I wouldn't say that that's a coincidence. But we're not done here either. If we go down a bit to evolutions, you'll see that here we have the V2 Blackbeard, we have Legend Capone, V1 Zoro. Technically there's no Luffy, but there's so many other Luffys boosted, so I wouldn't say that we're getting a new Luffy unit because first generation, that's not usually how it goes. But basically if you kept track here for now, we have Zoro, Capone, Blackbeard. If we go up again, we have X-Drake, Rogue, Kid. We're basically just missing a few. We're missing Apu, of course, but he's going to be free-to-play treasure map. We're missing Luffy, but let's just ignore Luffy. So basically we have 3 more. We have Killer, Hawkins, and for some reason we're also lacking Bonnie. So yeah, and the conclusion I reach from that is that we're going to get maybe 3 new legends of Supernovas. So finally getting our first killer legend, but we might also get a V2 Hawkins and V2 Bonnie. Obviously Hawkins has a 6+ as well, or has the potential for a 6+. So I'm not going to say it's going to be a new Hawkins, but the reason I still think it might be a new Hawkins is because we usually have different batches, right? So usually there's 2 legends end of the month. Like they might try and do just one. It happens like when we had a big month for December there with re-recruit Otama. So sometimes they do just 1 legend, V2 Sengoku was the same, but usually there's 2. So if they do 2 legends, it would feel weird if they did like Killer and Bonnie, for example. Like that would be very weird. So we also have the fact that Killer and Hawkins just have a fight that culminated in the anime, and this batch is going to drop before the next episode. So with those things in mind, I think it's possible that we're getting a killer legend It should be on like Saturday next week, together with maybe V2 Hawkins. Another very cool thing they could do is do a versus unit, Killer versus Hawkins. I'd personally love that. I don't see it happening, but it will be a lot more hype than just a normal batch with 2 super type or super class legends. That would be very interesting. But as I said, we do have some potential for 6+ as well. If we go to Hawkins, I can't spell. Need to change the box here. Good. If we go to Hawkins, we of course have the Dex Hawkins. I won't be shocked if he gets a 6+ because, yeah, just look at him, like he's very outdated. Honestly, his multipliers were outdated when he released, but the idea behind him was that you're supposed to kill over 2 turns. So if you kill over 2 turns, then 3 times attack is not that bad. But in practice it doesn't really work like that. You don't really kill stages over 2 turns unless you're forced to. So there's been some cool meme teams with him in the past, but now nobody uses him anymore. So it would be fun if they reworked him a bit. The special is definitely salvageable. It should do a bit more. But they've done a good job with buffing specials like this in the past. If we take like V2 Katakuri, for example. Very similar to this, but he does a lot of stuff now except for the tap timing added damage. But I used Hawkins a lot in the past, mostly as sub, but I have not used him for over a year, I'm sure. So definitely will mind him being a 6+. Another potential for 6+, which we can't ignore, is actually the Bonnie. I think that would be very dumb because this Bonnie is still really good. But rather than like releasing Bonnie as part of the end of month batch or make Bonnie like a treasure map legend or something, they could just give Bonnie a 6+ instead. That's totally viable. And Bonnie is very good still, like when you hit against type effectiveness, you get a free recover orb. So it's very similar to like Kinemon Denjiro, for example. And one reason I'm not opposed to a 6+ Bonnie for sure is the fact that Bonnie is basically a mono-in captain. Bonnie boosts other characters by 3.75 times, which is very boring when she has such an unique captain ability. So I wouldn't mind if they changed it so Bonnie is int, free spirit and fighter, for example. That will make her a lot more interesting. Obviously Bonnie is already a pretty good sailor to run. But of course she's held back a bit by only doing int buffs. And usually when you run Bonnie, she's the first special you use and she removes special bind and such. So being able to change that to int, free spirit fighter will be a big buff to Bonnie. But yeah, basically, to summarize my feelings a bit, I think Killer Legend is all but confirmed. He will drop next week. I think Killer will either be by himself, or he will be with V2 Hawkins, or fingers crossed they do a Killer versus Hawkins legend. That would be very cool. If we get Bonnie, I think Bonnie will be a treasure map legend, but I don't think it's guaranteed that we get a treasure map legend. It might also be a 6+ Bonnie, and there's also the potential that Killer is by himself and we get a 6+ Hawkins as part of the Kizuna, and that we might get a V2 Bonnie for the treasure map. But I think it's safe to say that those 3 will get new units for the reasons stated earlier in the video. But yeah, just a quick update because I didn't know when else to post this. I'm just going to upload this right away. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.